Hello, welcome to the Church360 Unite Groups and Advanced Techniques webinar. Hi, my name is Rod Kiles and I am the Customer Onboarding Specialist for Concordia Technology Solutions. I've been with the company a little bit over 17 years now and I really appreciate the opportunity to serve churches. You can reach me one of two ways. You can reach me at rod.kiles@cph.org. And of course, you can reach me by phone at 314-268-1315. I kindly ask that you mute your phones and or microphones and post any questions you may have in the question window. On the left hand, reverse that. On the right-hand side of your screen, there should be a little vertical control panel with a orange arrow at the top part of that, and you can click on that to expand and collapse your control panel. Inside of there, you can post any questions you may have. Manning the question window today is going to be Jordan Bogart. He's one of our support technicians. You may have spoken to him in the past. He answers questions through the email support, and he also answers questions on the hotline. So you may have spoken to him by calling 1-800-346-6120. You may have emailed him at support@cts.cph.org, and of course you can reach him at his email address at jordan.bogart@cph.org. So let's go ahead and go through the class overview. Now, each one of these webinars are structured very similarly, if that's a word. So they are structured alike. So we'll start out with our class agenda, basically kind of discussing the structure. Then we'll go through each one of the components of our class agenda. So we're going to start out with the class overview. So we'll talk about all the different parts, or talk about all the different topics we're going to cover. Then from there, we'll jump into our discussion, where we'll go through the first half of material. Now, this is a first run webinar with this material structured this way. So we'll kind of see how the timing is going to go. We've blocked out 90 minutes, but it may be closer to an hour in timing. Of course, there's always time for questions. So we'll start out with our discussion. Then from there, we'll have a short 5-minute intermission. Depending on how the timing is going, we may forego that intermission for just wrapping everything up and heading on home or heading to break or heading to lunch or our next task or whatever. So, okay, so we'll have our intermission, then we'll have our second part of the discussion. Then we'll jump into our short quiz, tie up a few loose ends there. Then from there, we'll go ahead and have our question and answer session. So if there's any questions you have along the way, feel free to post those as you go. And if you have any questions at the end, you can post those as well. And Jordan, he'll be manning those, so he'll answer the majority of them. And of course, I'll keep an eye on it and I'll answer some of them as well. So we're going to go through our overview now, and we're going to start out with people. I was having a hard time deciding exactly how I wanted to term that, but we're going to start out talking about people. And with Church360 members, in Church360 Unite, they share people. So inside of Church360 Unite, there's going to be people listed on one of the views. So we're going to fully go through all the features and functions of that view. So we're going to show you the users in Church360 Unite. We're going to show you syncing the data between Shepherd staff and Church360 Unite. We'll also talk about how the data is shared between Church360 members and Church360 Unite. From there, we're going to talk about adding people into the system and how they're added. So some of it's going to be conceptual, talking about how it's done in members and how it's done in Shepherd staff. But also we'll show you how to add people in Unite as well. There are customers who don't have a church management software to manage the people, so they'll literally be managing those records inside of Church360 Unite. We'll also talk about importing people into Church360 Unite. From there, we'll transition into groups. So once we have our people in the system, we'll talk about how we group them together. So there's going to be groups inside of the system, inside of Church360 Unite. We'll show you how to set those groups up. We'll also show you the members of the group. We'll follow that up with discussions inside of the group, and we'll also talk about events. Along with the conversation of group events, we're also going to talk about calendars. And if you attended yesterday's webinar, you know that calendars group events together. So we'll focus in on that one more time. I'll show you how to create some events and show you how they show on your calendars. We'll also show you mailing lists. We'll show you the activity tab inside of the software. We'll kind of wrap up at that point. We'll have our quiz, and then we'll have our question and answer session. So I hope everybody's excited. I'm excited, as you can tell. Let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Church360 Unite. I have that screen pulled up, and I'm going to turn off the webcam so we can maximize our presentation screen and we can focus in on the content that we want to discuss today. So here we go. There we go. And everybody should be able to see my Church360 Unite demo website. So let me go ahead and I'm going to switch this over to clean screen to remove the toolbar down at the bottom. And that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. I'm going to use the sign in button here on the right hand side. And I have a username set up for myself and I have a password. So I'm going to type in my password. And I can tell it to remember me so that I stay signed in whenever I go to this site. If you're an administrator, you do want to be careful with that because you do have rights to see everybody's information inside of the system and make changes to the website. But you can set it to remember me. There's also forgot your password. If you forget your password, you can type in your email address and send in a reset so that you can reset your password. It's all self-administered, so the only person who can reset the password is the person who has access to the default email address for your profile, for your user. So I'm going to go back to sign in. Then from there, I'm going to go ahead and log in. You can also sign in with Facebook, and you can sign in with a Google account as well. So sign in. There we go. And then that's going to sign me into the system. Across the top of the window, it's going to say Pages, Posts, Activity, Users, Themes, and Settings. I call this the admin bar. And with the admin bar controls, or let's say it contains, the major parts of the software. So this is going to be the administrative parts where you're actually making changes to the site. So everybody who visits the site will be able to see your main menu bar, but only people who log in, and only certain people who log in will be able to see the admin bar here at the top. Okay, thanks for your question there, Daniel, and I will focus on that during, or I'll mention this during our conversation. So thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to start out by going to users at the top of our window, and basically this shows us all of the users inside of the program. So when you're using Church360 members, and you may remember that there's a shared database there, so the people inside of Church360 members are stored in the Church360 database, but also the people inside of Church360 Unite, they're also stored in the exact same database. So when we're looking at this view here, it's going to say listing everyone from your Church360 members account, which is true. So if your church has Church360 members, you're most likely going to link that with your Church360 Unite site, and all of the people inside of that database will appear here inside of this list. So basically it's a listing of everyone, and I'm going to say everyone who's not deceased, so it can include non-members. Now, this view here is just for managing your users. It's not the, I'm going to say it's not the church-facing list of people. You'll notice here running down the right-hand side, it says listed. And listed means whether or not it's showing in your online directory. Let's pause just 1 second. I got a message from another person. It says, why can't I see your website? Hello, Pam. Let's double check to make sure that everybody can see my screen. So in looking at the view right now, you should be able to see the list of users who are potential users who are on my website. So like it says Dave Abbott, Jacob Abbott. Okay, looks like people can see that. Thank you so much. Okay, so inside this view is a list of people who are synced over from members, because that's the site that I'm showing. The ones who are listed have a little green check. The ones who are not listed are going to have a little X. Now, the system will automatically mark people as listed or unlisted based on their membership status. So if you're using Church360 members, the people who are automatically marked as listed, those are going to be members. The people who are not marked as listed, they're marked as unlisted, those are going to be non-members. And if I was to go into Church360 members and change their status, it would automatically change this flag. It would change this checkbox here, this check, from listed to unlisted. So it's kind of self-sustaining at that point in time. Now, down at the bottom of the screen, there's a series of action buttons, and they will allow you to list or unlist people from this part of the software. So if I go in here and I check somebody's box and I unlist them, then that person will at that point become unlisted, but also it breaks the connection between Church360 members and Church360 Unite for that flag. So no longer at that point, if you change it from member to non-member, will it affect whether or not they're listed, whether they are listed or unlisted. So I do want to show the members view here real quick, and we're going to come back here, then go back to the members view. So we're kind of going to double back and forth. So to find my members view, I'm going to go to pages here at the top, and then underneath connect is going to be members. And the members page is basically your online directory. It's going to show you the households and the people that are inside of Church360 members, and they flow over to Church360 Unite. So these are all those people and the ones who are selected as listed. So the only people that show here are going to be your listed people. In most cases, it's going to be members, even though if it was a non-member and you marked them as listed, they would show as well. But you could say in most cases, it's just going to show your church members and group them by household, and it will show certain contact information, addresses, phone numbers. It'll show photos if you have photos uploaded either here or inside of Church360 members, and you can switch between those photos. So before we get too far away from our users part of the program, let's go back there and go through some of these additional options inside of this window. So in looking at this right here, there is going to be filter by name, email, or role, and that will allow you to filter by typing in a few characters. So if there's somebody that I want to invite to the site, I can type in their last name, find who it is, check the checkbox, and then I could say change role and invite them to the site. So basically the type to filter is a way of narrowing your results down to just the people that you want to see. So type to filter, you do have to have an email address to be able to use Church360 Unite, and that email address should not be a shared email address. So if one person has the email address and then another person, or I'm sorry, if they're a couple and they share an email address, only one out of those two people would be able to use that email address. You would want to create another email address for the second person. And some of the, let's say some of the companies out there that provide email addresses, most large companies do, but you could say Google, Yahoo, AOL, your ISP lots of times, like we use Charter here in the St. Louis area, AT&T as well. They all provide email accounts. So there's options out there to get a second email account. So there's email address. If you're inside of Church360 members, it'll provide several options for email addresses, and you can invite people based on those email addresses. And I'm going to show the invite here just a second. To the right of that is going to be roles. They're going to show you the last date that somebody signed in, and then of course that listed checkbox. So if you go through and you want to invite somebody to use the software, what you can do is you can type in their name, and let's say that we are going to invite Bill Wilson or William Wilson. And we'll check the little box to the left of his name, and then we'll say change role down here at the bottom. Now, when you click on change role, what it will do is it'll take you to this window and it will show you each one of the different roles inside of the system. So it could be none, it could be user, it could be publisher, it could be designer, and it could be administrator. Each one of the roles changes, let me click cancel here. Each one of the roles changes the items that you'll see here in the top in the admin toolbar. So we have William here, we say change role, and if it says none, that means you cannot log into the system. If it says user, that means you can log into the system, but in most cases, you're not going to be able to make any changes. The only scenario where a user can make changes to the website is if that user is a group leader. And we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper, probably about 20 minutes from now. But, a user 99% of the time is not going to be making any changes. They're not going to be uploading photos or modifying pages. They're literally just going to be viewing the content that's behind their login. Below user is going to be publisher, and publisher allows you to post content, to publish content on the site. So when working with a publisher, or when a publisher logs into the site, they'll be able to log in and update pages, update blog posts, insert pictures onto web pages. They'll be able to do all those things when it comes to managing and modifying pages. Let me click update here and send out that invite. So one role has been changed and an invite's been sent out to him. And across the top here, you'll see how it says pages, post, activity, users, themes, and settings. When you are a publisher, you'll have access to pages, posts, and activities. So you'll have access to those three options. If you are, let's go back to William here. Okay, so if you are a designer, that's going to give you access to pages, post, activity, and it's going to give you access to themes. So it's going to add in one additional tab at the top, and the themes control the look and feel of the website, the design, the color scheme, things like that. So that's what the themes allow you to do. So they may edit content and the themes. And then, of course, an administrator is going to have access to all six of the items at the top. Being an administrator is going to allow you to invite people to the software, send out email blasts to the whole congregation. It's going to allow you to change system settings like the domain name. It's going to be the highest level of rights within inside of the system. It's also going to allow you to delete people from Church360 Unite as well, or add people to Church360 Unite. So it's really the highest level of permissions inside of Church360 Unite. So those are the 5 different types of permissions inside of Church360 Unite. And I would say the little waggle, or the little one that you want to pin a note for, is going to be if you're a user, you may also be a group leader, and that allows you to make changes just inside of that group. So let me go ahead and we'll click update. That role has been changed for Bill Wilson, William Wilson. If we have somebody on the site and we want to mark them as listed or unlisted, like we have Lisa Abbott here, if I switch her from unlisted to listed, then she's actually going to show in our members directory. Now, the delete button is going to be one that should, I guess, give you a little bit of pause at that point in time. So when we're talking about the delete button, if we are synced with Church360 members, if you delete somebody from Church360 Unite, it's going to delete them from the shared database, from the shared Church360 database, and it's going to delete them from Church360 members as well. Anytime you're using both Church360 Unite and Church360 members, we are going to advise that you use the Church360 members side to manage your person records. So in working with that, basically you're saying, hey, if I'm going to mark people as members, update addresses, phone numbers, fill in any information, I'm just going to make those changes inside of Church360 members. It's just considered to be one of the best practices. So if you're deciding to delete somebody, you actually see more content on the screen, and that might cause you to have a little bit of pause and say, hey, maybe I shouldn't delete this person. Deleting a person inside of Church360 members does delete that person also here in Church360 Unite. It does retain their offerings and attendance records so that you can get summary totals, but it does delete the person. So you could get summary totals, you just couldn't print contribution statements. So, but that's basically the delete option. So now here at the lower right, there is an add people option. So if I go to add people, that will allow me to type in a person's first name, a person's last name, and their email address. So let's say we're going to type in Tim Rogers, and he is tim.rogers@mail.com. Okay, so then I can click add. That'll create him here inside of Church360 Unite, and he'll flow over to Church360 members. So Tim Rogers now in the system. He doesn't have a role. He does have an email address. If I wanted to invite him, I could say change role and then select the role that he's going to play inside of the system. So there's a question that just came up that is relevant and on time. So hello, Michael. Thanks for posting your question. And Michael says, or Michael asks, if you add or delete a user, how does it impact syncing with Shepherd staff? And I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. I'm going to show the syncing here in just a few seconds. But if you delete a person who's been synced or uploaded from Shepherd staff, then it basically marks that person as do not import inside of Shepherd staff. It does not delete their record. So if you're, I guess, integrating between Shepherd staff and Church360 Unite, the delete option is not the same thing in most cases because you're going to be syncing your people from Shepherd staff to Church360 Unite. Now, if it's a person who is just been added into Church360 Unite, it doesn't sync that person down from Unite into Church360 we're going to start over on that one. If you create a person inside of Church360 Unite, it does not sync that person down into Shepherd staff. Shepherd staff is considered the master in these situations. So you're really going to want to create your people in Shepherd staff and sync them up to Church360 Unite and have them in sync instead of creating people inside of Church360 Unite. And we'll talk more about that here in just a second. Okay. So change role, you can change a role. I do want to show this here. If a person does not have an email address, so let me refresh my screen here. Okay, so if a person does not have an email address, when you go to change their role, then you can select the role that you want them to play inside of the software, but you'll also have to type in their email address since an email address is required. So at this point in time, I do want to show one other thing before I jump over to showing the syncing process between Church360 Unite and Shepherd staff. There is an add button down here at the lower right, and that add button, earlier I typed in a person's first name, last name, and email address, and then that allowed me to create a person here inside of Church360 Unite. But if I go to download CSV template, it'll download that template. And let me double click on that template there. Give it just a second. Okay, and basically the template, there we go. So basically the template is first name, last name, email address. You could copy and paste the information into this file, then save it as a CSV and upload that back into Church360 Unite. And then that's a way of importing your data. So I'm just going to type in 4 names here. So first name, and I'm just going to make up 4 names. So we're going to do Sam, Tina, Connor, we'll do capital C there, and Stacy. And then we're going to do last name. We'll just say Smith. So, okay. So we'll type in those. And then in most cases, you're going to have email address. So we'll say sam.smith@mail.com, and we'll say the mom, tina.smith@mail.com. So, and I'm just going to delete the email addresses for Connor and Stacy. Let's say that they're youth. So I'm going to save this file, save as, and I'm going to save it as a CSV to my desktop. Okay, so save, and you can rename it, like that. That doesn't break it or anything like that. So I saved it to my desktop. So I'm going to say import CSV from desktop, and then open. Then it's going to pull in that information. I could type in additional information at this point. Click add, and then that's going to add the Smith family here into our system. So Smith, so Connor, Sam, Stacy, Tina. If I wanted them to show on my directory, I could mark them as listed. Oops, bring up the Smith family one more time. And of course, I can invite them to the system into the system as well. So Sam and Tina, I can invite them to access the software. Okay, so we have kind of discussed how users work throughout the system, what parts of the program they'll be able to view, and we'll continue to talk about that over the next hour or so, hour or less. So let's go ahead, and I want to open up another site. And the site that I want to open up is the bigchurch.360 Unite. And there we go. Okay, so this is a test site that I've had for a little while. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to link this site with our Church360, or we're going to link Church360 Unite site with our database. So we're going to show you how to sync that information between the two programs. So inside of here, I'm already signed in, so I guess I'll sign out real quick and then sign back in. So I'll sign in, and I'll type in my credentials here to sign into the program. Once I'm signed in, I'm going to go to settings here at the top, and I'm going to go to integration. And this is strictly for Shepherd staff customers. So if Shepherd staff customers are going to integrate their information, sync their information between Shepherd staff and Church360 Unite, these are the steps on how to complete the process. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this token and this subdomain. And this big church subdomain is just a test church that I've had for years here. So to go ahead and pull up the church, the Shepherd staff software, what I'll do is I'll go to my bottom of the screen and open up Shepherd staff. And inside of here, I'm just going to log in. Here we go. And I'm going to go into membership. And once I'm in membership, give it a second, this is going to have all of my households and people inside of the database. So I'm going to close the I want to in the church dashboard. And I'm just going to open up the Abbott family here. So I'm going to click on Abbott, and I'm going to go to Dave Abbott here, David Abbott. So inside of his record, this shows all of their people information, but I'm going to go to the Other tab. And on the Other tab, there's going to be web connections down at the bottom. And each person has the option to be synced to Church360 Unite. So if I say show this person in Church360 Unite, it's going to include this person in the syncing process. So it's going to include Dave in the syncing process. And it's going to say last sent to 360 or last sent to Unite on this day. I tested it out this morning to make sure it worked. So there is an option for view the changes for this person made from Church360 Unite. So if there's changes, you can actually view those changes. Now, I haven't made any changes, but you can view those ones that have been made. And you can also click to make sure that this is included the next time that you do a sync. So you can say, hey, I just want to make sure that this one's included, regardless if there's any other changes anywhere else. I just want to make sure this one's included. So at that point in time, I can click OK. and David would be ready to be synced up to Church360 Unite with anybody else who's set to show in Church360 Unite. I do want to show one other thing. There is person records here, and so if I click on the P, it opens up my people grid. If I grab my scroll bar and pull it all the way over to the right, there's 2 checkboxes, and there's Unite, Pending, and Web Sync. So okay. So, basically saying, hey, we want to send them to Unite there. So that means that, hey, they're on the list to be sent to Unite. There is pending, and pending will allow you to state that, hey, this person is going to go up. And then there's also the web sync. And the web sync, I believe, is tied to web tools. So that's the web sync option. So let me go ahead and close that. And we're not going to talk about web tools today since we're talking about Church360 in general. So once we have Unite and Pending set and we select, we can unlock this grid. And that's the main reason why I came here, was to show if you wanted to go through and take some people off of Unite, this is probably the area to do so. Instead of going from record to record, here you can just simply uncheck those check boxes. And then those people will not be included. I guess you could say and or they'll be taken off of the site. So if you uncheck the thing saying show in Church360 Unite, the next time you sync, it'll actually take them off of the site. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close people. To do the sync, we'll go to Utilities, and we'll go to Tools, and we'll go to Church360 Unite. And inside of this window, there'll be 2 tabs, Synchronize and Settings. The Synchronize is going to allow you to send or receive information from Church360 Unite, and then the Sync button is just going to start the syncing process. Then there's also Settings, and Settings is where you're literally going to set up this sync. So just a few moments ago, I was talking about Church360 Unite account tokens and Church360 Unite subdomain. So I'm going to go and I'm going to copy that information from the website and paste it into this window. So we'll start with the account token. So I'll go down to the bottom, go back to Church360 Unite, and copy the account token. Here we go. And then click on the pencil and paste that account token into the window. And then I know the domain name, so it's The Big Church. So I can type that in. I can also copy that from the other program as well. So then I'll click Save. And there is an option to send just the people with data changes. Since we're basically syncing for the first time, we want to send everyone who's been set to show in Church360 Unite. So we'll click OK. Then there's also a View History of Changes option as well. So once I have this set up, then I'll go to Synchronize, and I'm going to click Send. And at this point, it's going to send the household information, the person information, and contact information. There's tons of data inside of Church360. There's tons of data inside of Shepherd Staff, as we all know, but it doesn't send all of that information. It's really just sending church directory type information. It's real basic information. So names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses. It's not sending received by dates or offering records or attendance records or anything like that. It's really keeping it, just with what you'd see on a church directory. So it does take a few moments for that to send all the way up to the site. So we'll give that just a few more moments and we'll let that complete. Then we'll go to the Church360, thebigchurch.360unite.com and take a look at it. So I'm going to grab a quick drink here while that finishes up. Oh, there is one question that did come in the box, come in the question box here from Daniel. And he said, is there any risk logging in with Google versus creating a unique email password login? That's a really good question. That's a solid question right there. I would say that there wouldn't be any additional risk above and beyond someone hacking your account. So I guess over the years I have heard that Google accounts have been hacked, but I wouldn't say there's any more than any other account being hacked from what I can tell. So I think the answer overall would be no, like there's no additional risk, but I think it's just nothing more than the average situation. Okay. So it's finished sending our 238 people. It received no changes because changes have not been made inside of Church360 Unite for these people. So from there, I'm going to go back to Church360 Unite, and I'm on the Big Church tab here at the top, as you can see. So if I close that and I go to the members page, I'll be able to see all of those member households here inside of the system. Now, in looking at this, you'll notice that there's no photos or anything, so it doesn't sync photos from Shepherd staff to Church360 Unite, but it does sync that contact information that we've been talking about. So that's how you can sync between the two programs. If you make a change, like if I go to Dave here and say I edit his profile, edit my profile, and say I made a change and gave him a new cell phone number. So I'm going to change this from 844 to 845. Then I went down to the bottom and I said update profile. Then to sync this information back down, what I'll do is go back into the membership portion of Shepherd staff, and then I'll click sync, and it's on send or receive. So it's going to go through and it's going to do a comparison. So the system knows what information it's sent to Church360 Unite and what type of, so basically saying what type of information it should receive from Church360 Unite. And it will, at that point, allow you to compare between the two. So it was changed from this to this. And if you want to accept it, you'll say accept these changes. If you don't, you'll uncheck it and you won't accept those changes. So you as an administrator can state, hey, I do or I do not want to receive those changes. And then accept and apply, and then you can apply those changes. And you can review any of those changes in the history, and it could be history here inside of the utility, but it could also be the history for this person on their person record. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this history window, and I'm going to minimize Shepherd staff. Oh, let me close the transfer window here as well and minimize Shepherd staff. So we're going to go back to our Church360 Unite website, and we're actually going to go to the demo site. And so now that we've talked about users and we've talked about syncing our people, let's talk about the data that's actually going to be inside of Church360 Unite now. So we're going to go to our members page, and we just made a change and we moved Lisa over. So here in this window, there is a link to allow you to view household information, to show the family members there. You'll notice that it says invite members, and then it also says members only. So invite members takes you to the user's view and allows you to invite members to the site. Let me close that. But this members only link is to remind you that you do have to log in to see this members directory. It's not going to be seen by everybody who accesses the site. It's just basically seen by people who can log in and have rights to see this data. So I'm going to click on About here. And with the About option, this is going to show us all of the members of the household and include their contact information. If I want to edit this household, I could say Edit Household, and then it will allow me to go in here and make changes. If I'm a Church360 members user, changes here will be passed on to Church360 members. If I'm a Shepherd staff user, changes here can be passed on to Shepherd staff. Now below here, it's going to show the members of the household, and you'll see the little dots here on the left-hand side. And that signifies that you can go through and change the sort order of the people that you're going to see inside of the household group there. So even though Jacob's younger than Lacey, I'm going to move him above her there and then say update household. Then when we're inside of the household view, you'll see Dave, Sue, then you'll see Jacob, Lacey. So it changes that sort order and moves them into the correct view. You can also, let's say we went back to the members view. So I'm going to go to connect and go to members. And then it now shows Dave, Sue, Jacob, and Lacey at this point in time. So that's how you can change the sort order. But basically it's more view, even though it does have a few edit options. Let me click on Dave here, and then that'll take me over to Dave's personal record. When I'm on his personal record, it'll show Dave's name, his contact information, his address. I can click on his email addresses, and it will hand that information over to our default email client. And I'm using Outlook since I'm here in the office, but at that point I could literally craft an email. I could make any attachments that I'd like to see, type in a subject, CC anybody that I wanted to, fill out the rest of the information, type in the body, and I could add in any additional information that I'd like to see at that point in time. So let me close that. I don't want to send it. Okay. Below this, it's going to show the groups that he belongs to. I can edit the profile, and I can also see recent activity, which will basically post that a person has posted inside of the software. So it's the comments and the things that Dave would have said about the different things that were being talked about inside of the program. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to go back to Connect and members here just for a second. And inside this view, there's going to be all of the people, and I'm going to find my name here. So I'm going to go down to Rod Kyles. Let me go back to users. I may not be shown in the members directory since I'm rather new to this. So I'm going to check my name, and then I'm going to say list, and that's going to show me in the members directory. Oh, there's a question that came in from Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. And Stephanie's question is, do we have to provide access to the directory to all members? Is there an option to only allow access to your own family? Currently at this time, if you have rights to log into Church360 Unite, then you have the rights to see the directory. So anybody who logs in will be able to see the directory. It's not just your own family. I see Jordan answered that pretty timely there. So, okay. So I've showed myself in the directory now. So I'm going to just refresh this screen. And when you are working with your profile, so Rod Kyles, that's me. If I go to Rod, not a member of any groups, but I can say edit my profile. And all of these options make sense. Like it's got naming options, email addresses, phone numbers. But since I'm on my own personal profile, I do have rights to state whether or not I can be seen in the members directory. So basically, the person who's logged in, they make the final decision on whether or not their profile is seen by anybody else in the world, I guess, basically you could say, or anybody who has access to the software. So you can say, I'd like to be seen, or you can uncheck that and basically stating that they do not like to be seen. This option cannot be overwritten by anybody else. So if the user decides that, then that's the way it's going to be. It can't be overridden by administrators or anything else. So if the user wants to reverse that action, they can just basically go in and check this box and then update the profile, and then that would reverse that action. Okay, so here at the upper right, it's going to say welcome, Rod, and then there's going to be settings. Rod is basically, it'll have the person who's logged in. It'll take me to that person's profile. The settings option allows you to tweak your user settings. So it'll say email, and it has my email address in there. I can have a username. I could go through and update or change my password, and I could link it to another account if I'd like to kind of give me more of a single sign-on type action. So lots of times when people go up here, they'll try to click on welcome instead of clicking on the name. And you do have to click on the name to be able to go to your profile, or click on settings to go to settings. Okay, so it is 10:48. So why don't we go ahead and take our short 5-minute intermission. Then we'll reconvene and we'll go through groups. So we've got people in the system now. We'll go through groups and show you how to invite people to groups and show you some of the different options there. So. Okay, the timer has started and I'll talk to everybody in just a few minutes. Thanks, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thanks for, hello, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful intermission there. I'm going to switch back to Church360 Unite here, and everybody should be able to see my Unite screen. The next topic to talk about is groups. And excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so the next thing to talk about is groups. And with working with groups, groups are basically a little website within your website. So it's going to be a part of the program that is, it's going to be a part of the program that has its own permissions, its own calendars, its own members, its own discussions. It's kind of like a little segmented area. It's separated. It's kind of off on its own. To access your groups, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Pages here at the top, and inside of Pages, this is where you'll create your groups. So we have this is a test site, so we have tons of little groups inside of this system. Some of them are going to be here on the left-hand side, where they're actually inside of the navigation, and some of them are going to be over here on the right-hand side. So the group that I want to create is a technology exploration group. So basically people will learn about new technology and share that. And then we're going to add it to our ministries drop-down list here. So I'm going to click on the Add Page on the right-hand side. And when I'm on Add Page, I can say New Page. I'll have the option for feeds, I'll have the option for groups, and I'll have like the little sample pages down here at the bottom. So if I click on the groups option, then at that point I can say create page and basically title the name of our group. So technology exploration, and then press enter, and then that will create the group. Now here on the right hand side it says members only. And when it comes to these groups, the permissions are controlled actually inside of the group. So I can take and drag this group and position it anywhere that I want on the right-hand side. And that will give people the ability to see this group underneath ministries. But depends on whether or not they have rights to actually access the group will determine whether or not they can go in and view the content of that group. Okay, so then from there, what we'll do is we'll save changes, and I'm going to close the little upload option, and I'm going to close pages here. So let me go ahead and just refresh my screen real quick. So in looking at this, if we go to ministries, we'll be able to see technology exploration underneath there. Now, when I click on that link, that'll just jump me over to that part of the program. And I'll be able to see that the home page is in draft mode. Every single group has its own home page. And if you go to edit page here on the left-hand side, that'll open up the controls so that you can make changes to the controls. So in looking at this, there was a question that came in from Michael. Hello, Michael. And he asked the question about if I was going to discuss managing files uploaded to group pages. And once they're uploaded, controlling and managing how those items are visible, embedding and linked, and locating and organizing those files. He also asked a question about if there is a Dropbox-like feature or capability inside of groups. So I'm going to talk about that, not at this exact second, but I wanted to kind of, I guess, plant that seed because we're going to talk about pages here in just a moment. But I wanted to kind of, get that out into the conversation. So inside of this view, inside of this page, you'll be able to go to layouts and change the layouts. This page works just like any other page within the system. So you could go in and make changes and tweak this page. Now, once we've set up our home page, normally what I do is I skip these other options, discussion, events, members, and I go down to edit this group. And then I double back to the other options. So basically I take care of the administrative components first. So this is called technology exploration. There can be a description that's entered in here. If I create a description, description can be used as part of our group widget. So in looking at this, we could say technology exploration meets every, I'm going to say third Tuesday at 8 to at 8. And then I'm just going to say, like, we discuss technology in an open and friendly forum. Technology in an open and friendly forum. So that's our description there, exclamation point. So below that, there's going to be an option for pages. And within pages, you can create up to 3 pages. And this could be a way of controlling content and providing content to just the people who are members of this group. So it could be, the pages could be a documents page, or it could be a files page, just depending on what type of pages you want. And, it could just be, content. So there could be documents and there could be files on that page. So you could create up to 3 pages, and these pages act similarly to all the other pages inside of the software. You can click on the row, and that will allow you to change the name. Let's put an exclamation point, and then click Save, and then that would allow you to change the name. Checking the box actually moves that page into the navigation. So you don't want to leave it here without it being checked, because then it's not part of your navigation. So, and I believe the order that you check the items is the order that those items appear here on the left-hand side. So there are a couple warnings, like we noticed the status of the pages are draft. Remember, your group homepage will not be visible to others while it's in draft status. And remember, linking to a draft page will, while not a group leader or a site administrator, will render a 404 not found page error. So there's a couple of things there. So in looking at this, we can create those pages. Let me save this. So I'm going to say update group. And then we could go to documents or files, and then we could manage and work with those pages if need be at that point in time. I do want to go back to edit this group just for a second and talk about a few of the other permissions. Now, in working with this, there is the group details down here at the bottom. Now that basically I've saved it, I have the options to specify rights and permissions for files and for our files page and for our members page. Now, on our home page, we can say that only group leaders can see this page. Only group members can see this page, only Unite users, and we can also make it public for our home page. When we're talking about discussions and events, those can be completely turned off if we'd like. And basically, if you have a page set at draft, it's kind of turned off as well, except for people who have rights to manage and organize those items. So in looking at this here, if this is a private group or if the group is in development, you may want to say only group members or only group leaders, just depending on the stage of development. Since I'm an administrator and I'm a group leader, I'll be able to see this information. So in looking at that, that's information I would be able to see. But if I wanted to turn one of these items off, I could say no, or I could say only group leaders, and that really kind of narrows who can see that information. Then below that, there's going to be who can join this group, and you can say anyone who's logged into this site, kind of making it more public, but not public to people who actually can't log into the site. And then you can say only people who I have invited. So really you're narrowing down your options just to the individuals that I've invited. So say you had a church council group, and you could simply say, hey, these are basically the people that I've invited are going to be the members of the group. So it's more like an exclusive club. So I can say update group at that point. And once I've updated the group, then I can go to members. And when working with members, it's going to take me to the members page for technology exploration. And right now I'm the only person who's part of the group. I'm the group leader. So I'm going to say select an option, and I can invite people who have been invited to Church 360 Unite. So I can say Dave Abbott, and I can either invite him or say add member. Add member just basically connects them to this group. So the person's a part of the church council, you can just simply connect them and say, hey, they're part of it. So, we're inviting them, and we'll send them an email notifying them that that they're part of the group, And if you send them an invite, then they kind of automatically know as well that they've been invited. Now, they may not accept the invite, and that's where adding a member makes sense. Now, it says all members and request. If this is a group that is open to the church, then people can request joining, and you can basically accept their request. So once I've gone through and I've invited additional people, you'll notice these checkboxes running down the left-hand side. I can email the members of my group, so I can email the selected people here. And if I click email, it'll basically hand the information off to my default email client and allow me to send them an email. Now, it does cloak the names so that information can't be seen. But, basically you can send it out and it'll just hide the names from the recipients. Let me close that window and no changes. You can say email all, and that just emails everybody in the group. In addition, there is change role. And what change role allows you to do, it allows you to promote or demote people who are inside this group. So if Dave Abbott is really supposed to be the group leader, then I can say promote to leader. Then I could demote myself. But basically, it's giving you the right to kind of move them one notch up the chain of command there. There's only two levels. Either you're a member of the group or a group leader. And if you're a group leader, that gives you the ability to invite other people or remove people from being part of the group. It also allows you to send out announcements as well. So basically, a group leader is going to be someone who's in charge of the group. You don't have to be a publisher of the site, a designer of the site, or an administrator to be able to make changes to the group. As long as you're a group leader, that will give you the ability to make changes to the group. So let's go ahead, and now that we've invited people, we have a few group members. Let's go to documents over here on the right-hand side. Like we have documents and files. And when it comes to managing files inside of groups, basically it's all like how you set the group up. It doesn't have built-in like a built-in file system or something like that. And I think that's where you're going with your question. Does it have like a file system? I think that's what you're saying. But and you even asked about Dropbox. It doesn't have like a Dropbox component. If I went into the page and I uploaded files, so I went in here and say that I had a bulletin, I could create links in here, and this could be the bulletin for March or it could be the bulletin for April. I could highlight that, and whatever file or document I wanted to upload, I could browse through the computer and upload those files. So then they would just be in the order of the order that I created these links. Now I do know that Dropbox does have some options to where you can create a link to your Dropbox site. So that might be an approach that would help you out. If you have content that you're uploading, that content could be either embedded or linked inside this page. So if it's a MP3 or an MP4, then you could embed it and then people could listen to it or watch that video here on that page. If you wanted to create a link, you would just go here, and I guess let me show the difference between the two. So say we wanted to embed a video file. We could go to the camera here. We could say upload, and I'm going to go to our shared drive here. actually I want to go to assets, and then I can upload the video. So that would actually embed the video into the page. Let me save that, and then edit page, and then people could play that video. If I wanted that to be a downloadable link, and I'm just going to press enter here, I could go to the gear here, and actually, before I do that, let me just say that this, type the text in this window. I'm going to say that this is our youth video. So I'm just going to say youth video. Then I could click on the link and say a file that users could download, and then click upload. Then I could select my import MP4 file, and then click upload, then click OK. Well, there we go. Then click OK, and then save it, and then that would actually be a link that someone could click on and then actually download the file. So, or easily download the file at that point in time. So either way would work. Oh, actually it doesn't allow you to download it. I guess you could right click and save link as at that point and download it from there. So just depending on how you wanted to use it. So it's not Dropbox, but there are ways of uploading data so that it can be downloaded. Okay, so adding content to pages. Let's go from here and let's go to discussion. And underneath discussion, this is going to be the discussion area of the software. And inside here, if you're a group leader, you have the ability to say whether or not you want to start a discussion, whether or not you want it to be a prayer request, or whether or not you want it to be an announcement. So in looking at this, say like, where should we go for Tuesday's meetings? For the next Tuesday meeting. Okay. And then you could say post, and then that would create a post, and other people would be able to respond to that post. So, and you can even respond to your own post. You could say reply and respond to your own post if you wanted to. There's also prayer requests and announcements. Announcements are limited to your group leader, so not everybody has the right to send out an announcement. So after discussion, there is, and before I go to events, I'm going to go to membership settings down here at the bottom. And when you're working with the membership settings, it's going to say that there's the option to send me an email when a member of my group posts a comment, send me an email only when a group makes an announcement, and don't send me an email notification for this group. So you as a user of this group, or you as a member of this group, can state how you like to be communicated to. You can also say leave this group if you're no longer a part of the group. So at this point, let's go back to events. And events is going to be the area where you can enter in events for this group. So earlier we were saying, hey, we're going to meet every single third Tuesday of the month. To create that event, you can click on the third Tuesday, 1, 2, 3 of April. That's the 17th. That's actually today. Wow. So I can click on that date, and I can click new event, and that will create that event for me. It will start the event creation process. I can also click new event here on the right-hand side. So the title, this could be, we'll just call it technology event. You can state the location. It automatically puts it on a calendar for you. You can add in additional calendars if you'd like. So it could be on more than one calendar. You can enter in the dates. I'm going to say that this event repeats, but it's not an all-day event. I'm also going to change the time to 6:30 to 7:30. And then down here, I can set the schedule. So instead of it being every single week, it's actually every single month, and it's on the third Tuesday of the month. So I can say when the schedule starts. I can also say when it ends. I can fill in a description. I can say I want to invite certain people to this event, so this sends them a reminder. It also allows them to RSVP for the event. So it's kind of like, do you think you're attending? Yes, no, or maybe. So people can RSVP for the event. And if I want to send out reminders, say I want to send out a reminder one day before, I can do that as well. So I'm going to say create event. When I create the event, it's actually going to put the event on our calendar. And I can navigate to the additional months and see that that event is repeating on the third week of the month. So the third Tuesday of the month. So, and you can drag and drop these events onto a different day. So if something changes, you get snowed in and it's being postponed one day, you can just drag and drop. And you can also click and edit the event. So you can say, edit this event, and you could go in and make changes to the event. Let me go back one screen here. And I was talking earlier about RSVPing. I'm going, or check the box, I am not going, So you can state, whether or not you're going to go to this event. And you can also leave a comment, as well. So that's adding events into the system. Let's go back up to settings and go to calendars here just for a moment. And with calendars, basically this is how you're going to group events together. I just showed a few minutes ago when it comes to the group calendar that who can see that calendar is determined inside of the actual group. But also we can show different colors as well. So if you have a group calendar like our technology calendar, let's say it's like a bluish color, you can have different colors. Then when you're actually on your calendar's view, those events will show in different colors. And basically it's like a little visual cue to help you notice that there's a difference between the two events. So once we've gone in, and I do want to show, like if I go to worship here, I can state who can see these calendars. So it could be nobody, it could be users, it could be everyone. But I can go in and select who can see the calendar and click Save. Once I've updated my calendars, assigned my colors, made them visible to the people that I want to see those calendars, I can then jump over to the calendars view. And it looks like that's on our main menu bar. So I'm going to click on calendar, and I'll be able to see all of the events for the calendars that are selected. And for 1, 2, 3, we have our technology event here on the third Tuesday of the month. And basically this allows you to see all of the events that you're privy to see. So if I'm not part of a group, then I won't see those events. But I can also uncheck events that I don't want to see. So uncheck calendars that I don't want to see. So I can narrow the results down just to the calendars that I do want to see. So there we go. And then click outside the box. And then these are just the events that I want to see. So you have full control over the calendar and just showing the data that you want to see. You can navigate back and forth in time, and it will allow you to jump to today's date. You can also do a month view or a week view. The week view is an agenda view. So it basically goes vertical and allows you to see the different events inside of the software for that time period. So for July 1 through July 7th, or for June 24th through June 30th. So you can select the events that you want to see by selecting your calendars. Okay, so now that we've talked about calendars, let's take talked about calendars, but also talked about events. Let's take a look at our mailing list. So just a few moments ago, we were talking about groups, and you can send out a blast email to our group events. I'm going to go to activities here. Activities, I'm going to go to users because we're talking about mailing lists. So I'm going to go to users, and there is the option for mailing lists. Mailing list allows you to create a mailing list. It allows you to collect people into a mailing list and then to communicate with those individuals based on this grouping mechanism. So you can send out basically this email to a group of people based on which mailing list they belong to. So to create a mailing list, say this is for our technology event. So we'll take a technology event contact list. Then create. Then from that point, I can click on the row and I could change the name, and I could also invite people. So I could say everybody who's part of our technology exploration group, everybody who's part of the 20s and 30s small groups. We could say all the people from a men's ministry or whichever ministry we wanted to include them from. We could also do names. So I could say we could invite Jordan, or we could invite a group of people, and we could just basically type in their names to find those people. So then once we're done, we would click save. Oh, there was one that I did miss. We could include people from another group. So we could say we want to invite all the people who are part of our Board of Education, or we should be able to just do boards. How about elders? I wonder if, actually I think since I'm at the bottom, it's cutting off there, like this needs to be pulled down. So church council, there it goes. So this needed to be pulled down here on the right-hand side. So I can invite people from other groups, but I could do other mailings as well. So members all, and you can kind of see it has the little email style link there, the little letter. And then I can include groups as well. So once I've selected everybody that I want, and let me add in Jordan so I have a person, so I have all three of the options there. Then click save, and then it creates that mailing list. I would then check the box on the left of that mailing list and say email. Then that will hand it off to my default email client. Once again, we'll give that just a second. And it will show show the title, and then it will include all of the people. So then I can type in subject, the body, review my signature, attach a file, and then basically send that email. Okay, so that is mailing list. The mailing lists are going to work with your groups and your users to be able to communicate with people. Okay, and let's take a look after mailings. The only other thing we had to discuss was activity, and it's the activity tab here at the top. The activity tab is going to show you any comments that have been moderated. So if you have a group and you're moderating comments, or you have a calendar and you're moderating comments, I guess also a post and you're moderating comments, then those comments can be approved or deleted. There's also the event log, which is going to show the different things that people do inside of the software. So I sync these people, so it's imported a bunch of people into the system. If I go through and I make changes, then changes would show here, like I did import Stacy, Connor, Tina, Sam, so they're all showing. But it keeps track of the changes that are made inside of the software. Then the email log is going to track our email blasts. So if it makes it, it'll say delivered. If it doesn't make it for some reason, it'll say failed. Like William Wilson, that's not a real email address, so that's why it failed. But it does track those types of things. And if you have a blast, it'll tell you for each email address which ones made it and which ones did not make it. So there's some powerful options here to help you kind of follow up with emails that have been sent out. And if you have an email that's not arriving or saying that it's failed, give us a call. We can look into it and we can help you out there. So, just depending on the scenario. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close activity, and let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation. And we had our intermission, so let's go to our quiz, and we'll answer our quiz questions. So, okay. So quiz question number 1, true or false? People, household, event, and calendar information is shared between Church360 Unite and Church360 members. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. And we had 86% of the people say true, and we had 14% of the people say false. So I'll hide the poll and share the results. Hide the poll and share the results. I'll hide the poll and share the answer. And the answer is true. Church360 shares information between its programs. Church360 members, Church360 Unite, and Church360 Ledger. So it does share information between those programs, and you can pretty much say the appropriate information. It doesn't overshare, it's just the right amount. Question number 2 refers to deleting a person. So deleting a person in Church360 Unite will also delete the person from Church360 members. Okay, it looks like everyone has had a chance to vote. So I'll close the poll and share the results. And we also had, I guess, a 3-to-1 split here. So we had 73% of the people say true, and we had 27% of the people say false. So I'm going to hide the results and share the answer, and the answer is true. Please be careful when deleting people in Church360 Unite. This will also delete the person from Church360 members, and I would say that works vice versa as well. Deleting the person from members will also delete the person from Unite. Okay, question number 3. There we go. Question number 3, true or false? After logging into Church360 Unite, group leaders can make changes to any page in the website. Okay, we'll give it a few more seconds here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. So we had a 93-7 split. So 93% said false and 7% said true. So I'm going to hide the results and share the answer. There we go. And the answer is false. Group leaders can manage the groups they are assigned to lead. So if you're a group leader, you don't have rights to manage everything within the website, just the groups that you're assigned to lead. So, okay. And then the 4th and final quiz question. So launch, there we go. Mailing lists are used to select people, groups, and other mailing lists together so that a single email can be sent to multiple people. True or false? Okay, wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and hide the poll and share the results. So we had 100% say true. So I'm going to hide the results and share the answer. True, mailing lists are used to select people, groups, and other mailing lists together so that a single email can be sent to multiple people. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ask the question, do you have any questions? If you do, please feel free to post those questions inside the question box. We'd love to hear from you. We've had a few questions so far. Thank you so much for asking those questions. And before people start dropping off, there are a couple other questions that are showing here. Thank you for adding today's Church360, thank you for attending today's Church360 Unite webinar. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's session. Outside of the question and answer session, we hope you, outside of the question and answer session, please feel free to give us a call at 1-800-346-6120. And of course, you can give us a call at support@cts.cph.org. So there's a question there. Yesterday, you mentioned something about updating the copyright on the website. How do you do that? If you're having a problem with the copyright date on the website, like down here at the bottom, give us a call at the support number. I believe the reason why the copyright date is not up to date is because we're using a cloned theme. So let me try material here. Copyright church. The way that it's updated, if it has to manually be updated, is actually in the CSS. So I think it has something to do with the theme, the reason why it's not updating properly. So if you're having a problem with that, please you can shoot us an email as well. So it's not necessary you necessarily give us a call. You can use the I down here at the lower right, and you can say send us a message, and we can take a look at your site and get that and make that updated. So the next question is from John. Hello, John. Are people pictures shared between sites, or should they be only added to members to share? Understood. So let me close here and let's go to members, so connected members. And the photos, so like if I click on Dave Abbott here, and I click on edit my profile, and then I click on his picture, then it'll allow the user to, I guess the administrator or the user, to state which picture they want to use. So it could be the picture that's coming over from Church360 Unite. It could be a Gravatar. It could be custom. So it could be any of those. And I think if you put on custom and you update, it hides the profile picture at that point in time. Oh, maybe there's not a way to hide it if you have a Church360. Use Gravatar. Let me try that one more time. I thought there was a way to hide the photo. Okay, if you set it to use Gravatar, it'll hide it unless you have a Gravatar out there. So custom update is just using the one from Church360 members. So I would suggest using Gravatar if they don't want to see that photo show throughout the program. Okay, the next question is from Deborah. Hello, Deborah. I missed yesterday's session. How do I access it to go through it on my own? So to access the Unite 1 Getting Started webinar, two ways really. So you could go to youtube.com and you can search for us. We are Concordia Technology Solutions. So there we go. So then from there, you can go into our channel. If the audio plays, you can pause it. But you can, at that point, you can just click on the video and watch it. That's one way. Another way is to go to cts.cph.org. So with cts.cph.org, on that page, there's a resources page. And on the resources page, Buffy Alvarez, one of my associates, she'll upload the videos or tie the videos to these pages. So you'll be able to go to the Unite page and see that video at some point in the near future. So as of this moment, you can go to YouTube and see it, but there's a bunch of different recordings that we've done and hosted over the years that's literally here on the resource page, which they'd also be on the YouTube page as well. The difference with this page is if there's any blog post, somebody typed up an article, you can view an article here as well. So those are the two ways, either by just searching it on YouTube or by going to the cts.cph.org resource page to be able to see that information. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'll hold on a few more seconds, and if you have any questions, I'll answer those questions, and if not, then I wish everybody a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. For Jordan Bogart, this is Rod Kiles. We are signing off. Hope you have a wonderful lunch. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Michael. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful day. Okay. Talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye. Thanks, John.